SheCodes just released 2 new Python coding workshops, so I bought them both and I'm testing them out for you guys to see if they're actually worth the hype. Now, if you're new here, for reference, I have taken all the front-end development SheCodes courses. So that's SheCodes Basics, SheCodes Plus, SheCodes Responsive, and SheCodes React. And this makes up the front-end development section of SheCodes, which is essentially building and deploying websites. I used these certificates from SheCodes, put them on my LinkedIn, and used it to pivot my career into more of a computer science role at Intel. So instead of actually going and getting a degree in computer science, I went and took these classes and used it to justify my skills in programming, development, and kind of deploying websites. I'll put my LinkedIn below in the description so you guys can check out what I'm up to now if you're genuinely curious. Now, these were great classes. That's why I took so many of them, right? I took 4 completely separate classes on this website because I really liked the course content, the way it was structured and delivered, but they didn't have a Python course at the time. And I really wanted to learn Python because it's a super in-demand skill. And the average Python developer is making like $80,000 a year entry level in the United States, and it can go all the way up to $200,000. So that's an insane range for a Python developer. Now you have to be more senior to make that kind of crazy money. And this is all based on like Indeed, Glassdoor, some of those websites that tell you what they're making. So to learn Python, this backend language, I went to Udemy and took kind of a crappier kind of course. It just wasn't as structured as SheCodes. But when I found out SheCodes came out with SheCodes Python Basics and SheCodes Python Advanced, I instantly purchased them. I'm like, yes, let's do it. Let's get the certificate. So let's jump right into what the course looks like once you purchase it. So what I did was I went to SheCodes and I purchased the Python courses, right? So you can go to coding workshops up here, look for the course. I do have a discount. I'll link it in the description. It's like 20% off. But I go to my workshops because I've completed a bunch so far. So if you want to see what it looks like once you have already purchased, so let's say you've already purchased, go to my workshops and it will say what workshops you have in your badges that you have already. So there's some stuff that I'm still missing because there's a bunch of add-ons and stuff, but this is what it looks like. If we go to just my SheCodes workshops, you can see I've already finished basics. I haven't done the add-on. It kind of walks you through your career or your journey, which I love because then you can kind of see where you're headed, right? And so here's the SheCodes Plus alongside the SheCodes Python. And you can see this is the one that I'm taking. It says 23% complete because I already finished the first week. So I just submitted the homework like yesterday. And then here's the advanced. Now, what you can do is you can start the workshop at any time. So I already pre-purchased this. You can change your date. So like I bought it and was gonna start on Monday in like August, but then things got busy, so I moved it to September. So you can change your date, but this is what it looks like. It'll say Python Basics. So if we click continue, that's when you actually get into the bulk of the class. So the details with the deadlines. So if we look at just the home, right here, we have SheCodes Python Basics week 1. So here is what week 1 is, right? So this is lesson 1, lesson 2, and then you have to complete all these lessons for week 1 and then submit the homework, right? So this is your summary, and then you have 1 homework, and it has a due date. That's the biggest thing with SheCodes that I actually appreciate is there is actual homework due on specific dates. Like I have to turn this in by September 9th, 2024, right? So you can get extensions too, I will say, but this is basically the structure. You get, each week you get a list of workshops. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So, or 10, I guess. So 10 lessons. And then within each one of the lessons, there is a little, like a 3-step journey. And then you turn in your homework, you're done for the week. And then it's the same thing for the next week, right? So more lessons, about 6 for this one. And then you turn in week 2's homework. So it's very well structured. You can see the whole course from top to bottom if you want to. So let me show you what it looks like once you get inside one of these. So let's just open up lesson number 5. So if we open this guy, what I like about it is each week it shows, I just kind of stay in this format here because it shows your week 1 and you can go through all your lectures and then the homework's at the end, and then you don't have to look at week 2 because it's a little overwhelming. So the typical structure is you'll have the lesson name, so Python numbers. You'll have the learn, so it'll be looks like a 9-minute video. So I'll show you kind of what that looks like. So it looks like he's got this, he's just kind of showing the coding class here, You could put it at full screen. It's not fully, oh, there we go. It was like, it's not full. I'm like, why does it look fuzzy? So this is what it looks like. He codes along with you, and then kind of shows you how to do it. And then at the bottom, there's these code snippets. You can copy the code, and I put this into Notion. So I take all my notes into Notion, so I just copy these little code snips and then throw them into Notion, and you're all good. Then once you're done with learning, so that's your lesson, it's about usually 10 to 15 minutes for the learn section. And then you go to challenge. So once you're done with learning, you go to challenge, there's a 2-minute where he walks through what he wants from you. And then there's some instructions and you paste your Replit URL in here. Now, I will say the Replit stuff, I'll go over in a second, but that is basically how you're gonna be turning in your homework, is using this like online code editor. So you're uploading that URL and then you can change it if you want. And then, so you upload the challenge, and then once you do that, then you get the solution video. So you can't see the solution video until you've uploaded the actual URL or submitted your little challenge in that little box there. And then you have the source code. And then you can go back and edit it if you need to. That's basically how each one of these lessons is set up. So then once you're done with that section, you go to Python strings, and then you go to Python data conversion, and you go all the way down, and then you submit your homework. Same deal. Your homework, you can submit your homework and then the solution video. And then guess what? You can go back and fix your homework in case you messed up the solution, you didn't do it right. And you'll get an email after your homework's submitted. A couple days later, they'll say, yes, this is a valid solution, or no, you need to go back and redo it. So you do, like, someone's actually going through and looking at your code, which is kind of crazy. So, but that's what I like about it, because it kind of forces you to take it a little bit more seriously than a self-paced course. So now that you understand the structure of each one of these lessons, let's look through the whole course, because this is the basics course, right? So we should be seeing beginner-friendly stuff. So we have overview. What is Python, right? Set up Python in your browser, Python variables, numbers, strings, data conversion, debugging. Cool, that's your week 1. How to set it up on your computer. That's your week 1, turn in your homework. Great. So this is a very beginner-friendly course. Then we get into week 2, and it looks like there's a little bit of an overview, some Booleans, if-else statements, which are pretty common, and then, you know, some elif statements, and Python none. I'm not sure what Python none is, and I see this black dot, so I guess we'll find out. And then you have your week 2 homework. And then week 3, it looks like we're getting into functions, arguments, values, returns, little summary, and then we have our homework here. And I love that has the date, because then I can kind of time when I need to turn in my homework by, so I won't do like huge plans that weekend. And then here we have week 4, Python lists, loops, dictionaries, dictionary loops, debuggers, nested dictionaries, like that. It's starting to look a little bit more intense now. A little bit of homework. Okay, week 5, dates, external packages, Python and APIs. I'm very excited for APIs, because that is one of the things that you're going to use Python a lot with if you're automating things. Looks like we're going to touch a weather API and then a little homework. And then the last week, which is week 6, it looks like we're going to do a weather app, interactive weather app, forecast, integration, user interface, and then a final project. So that is the course. That's 6 weeks. Now, he said that it's supposed to be about 5 hours per week, which seems reasonable, especially if you're working part-time now, or working full-time and you're doing this on the side. I always do the part-time, you know, the longer weeks, and the smaller amount of time, because obviously I have a job, like I don't have time, I'm not a student, I don't have time to just like take an intense boot camp class. And I will say, it is roughly about 5 hours a week. And their estimates are really good, because I've been through a bunch of these courses, kind of plan for 5 to 6 hours a week, because you want to watch the lectures, you might want to watch them over again. But yeah, it's a pretty good estimate as far as time goes. So I mentioned that you're going to use this thing called Replit, kind of where I said submit your URL. So for the Python course, this is not how we did it for the SheCodes Plus and the basics and the front end stuff. I don't know what they use now. They may have changed it, but we didn't do it this way. So Replit's new to me. And this is kind of like a code editor in your browser. So he will show you how to set it up in VS Code, but makes it really easy to copy your URL, paste it so somebody can go back and review it. So it seems like a good way to submit your code. And there's a couple things with a Replit here. So if we go here to REPLs, I think that's how you say it. If we go here, this is all, if you're on the free plan, you can only have up to 3 like little folders. Now I just named mine SheCodes Week 1 Homework. I actually had to upgrade on accident because you can stay on the free plan, but you only get a certain amount of hours of code development before they cut you off and say, no, you can't code anymore. I accidentally left my browser open, went and did something else, went to the gym or something, and then it cut me off and said, oh, you've spent all your hours. I'm like, I didn't even code anything. I just accidentally had it open. So if you want to get by with the free version, close out of this code editor section. So I had this open, so when you click it, you'll see this is your code editor. It has all your files and your code, and you can run your code and the code shows up here. Yeah, I had this open like all night, all day, and then it sucked up all my time. So I had to upgrade it. Now, SheCodes does cover you if you upgrade for like the amount of months that you're taking the course. So they'll reimburse me for the 2 months that it will cost to have this. And you have to request it on SheCodes. But so I had to upgrade it. It sucked because you have to like basically upfront the money because they're not going to refund you until you finish the course. So just keep that in mind. If you're on the free version, then all you have to do, if we just go home, you can make up to 3 of these. So you can do create, and then you'll click Python, and you can have up to 3, like create REPL. You can have up to 3. And then what I do is I just rename them. So I had, how I was doing it before I got cut off is I had 3, one for lessons, or one's for challenges, one for homework, and I just kept renaming them. And then that way you can paste the new URL in, or you could just reuse them. You just call them SheCodes and just keep submitting the URL. Just know that when you update the code, right, for the next lesson, it's now changed. So you kind of have to keep the homework one there until you get the homework approved. But anyway, I'm going into way too much of detail. But the point is, you have to create these REPLs so that way you can submit your homework. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna X out of your full screen, copy this, Control-C, and paste it into your SheCodes course when it says upload your REPL project. So you'll code in here, copy this URL, paste it into your SheCodes, submit your code. You're golden. If you want to stay on the free plan, don't accidentally have this open for hours on end. When you submit your homework, after a couple of days, you will get an email from SheCodes that looks like this, and it says, "Hi Liz, we've reviewed your Python Basics Week 1 homework. Your solution is valid, great job." And then it has a link back to the course. Or it could say, "No, you need to go redo this," and then you have to go back and edit your code, resubmit it, all that stuff. So that's kind of what it looks like to get it approved through SheCodes. Somebody's actually going in and watching. Another thing to note is you're not completely alone when it comes to the homework and the little lessons and stuff like that. You can go on Slack. So this is SheCodes Slack. You'll get an invitation when you join the course. There's a couple things that you have to do before you can start the course. And one of them is you have to go in here and introduce yourself. So lots of people come in here, introduce themselves. So this is me, right? And then there's also just a bunch of different channels. So you can browse all the channels and go to, okay, here's for each course you have. So this one was like Python Basics Week 3. You can go to that channel, you can join them. There's also just other channels in general. And you go in and you ask questions. And there's some guidelines, like in order to ask a question, you have to use a question mark before your question, like the question mark emoji. But you'll learn about all that there. Just know that you're not completely stranded on your own. There's lots of people taking this course, and I see people chatting in here all the time, and they hired tutors to come in here and answer your questions. So you can go in here into week 1 and see what people are talking about when it comes to the homework and that kind of stuff. So for example, in the SheCodes Python Basics Week 1, see somebody asked, so they've used the emoji question mark, they said what they're doing, right? And then, hi, I followed this, somebody help me. And then there's replies. So a ton of people are in here asking all types of questions. People are replying, people are messaging each other back and forth. So again, don't feel like you're not gonna get any help. That's why you're paying kind of a premium, because you're getting help on Slack. The lessons are really thought out. There's challenges, there's homework, there's due dates. It's a really strong course, and you will finish it because it feels more like an in-person course than a virtual course. Okay, so that was a lot of information about SheCodes Python basics. So let me just summarize it for you. Number one, it is beginner friendly, right? So this is not a course for somebody who's advanced in Python already. So you don't have to have any background in any programming language. And honestly, it's really great for people who want to start on their first programming language and they don't really know what they want to do with coding yet. Python is a great first language to learn. This course is about 6 weeks long if you do it part-time. That means if you're working a full-time job or you're doing it on the side, it's gonna take you about 6 weeks to finish. The time commitment is 5 hours per week, right? So that includes all the lessons, one homework assignment for that entire week. So that's about 5 hours, and I will say it is a very good estimate. Each week you do have homework due. So at the end of the week, there is a date, and usually it's a Monday. You have to submit your homework by that date. There are extensions though. You have a changeable start date. This is the most important thing, because I got really nervous when I signed up for this course and it forces you to pick a date to sign up on. You don't have to stick to that date. You can sign up on Monday, October something, and move it to November or move it to December. You can change it. Once you buy it, you can move that date around. Extensions are also available for the homework. So if you, for some reason that week, you couldn't get it done, you had a quick little vacation thing and you didn't want to do the homework, or you had an emergency or you got really sick, okay, then request an extension. So that's the really nice thing, is you get a couple extensions for the 6-week course. There's Slack help. So there's tutors and people who are on Slack. So if you get stuck, you can just go on there, message somebody, and someone will get back to you. You also get a certificate, and you can link it on your LinkedIn. So in the certifications page on your LinkedIn, you can put the certificate on there. It's really nice to have. It shows that you're going out of the way to go get certificates, get educated, learn Python, that kind of stuff. And lastly, this course right now, as of the time that I'm filming, is $399. Now that doesn't include the discount. So like I have a discount code, it's 20% off, which is actually like solid. It's a good discount code. So use that, you just click the link and then buy the course using that link and you'll get 20% just reduced off the cost. Now, when I first did SheCodes, they didn't have an affiliate program. So I just bought all these courses, filmed them, and then I emailed them and I said, hey, can I get an affiliate code so people can get a discount? And they basically started their affiliate program after I asked them multiple times, hey, let's get a discount going. So it's kind of cool to be like, dang, I was so into SheCodes before anyone else was, and I was like one of their first affiliate partners, so it's really cool. So I hope this helps you guys get a bigger or a better understanding of what you're signing up for, what you're paying for, what it looks like once you purchase, because I know I get a little hesitant when I buy online courses. I'm like, what am I gonna get? So hopefully this was a good deep dive into kind of what the structure is, what the homework is, what you're gonna learn, and that kind of stuff. And I'll film another final review once I finish the course. I will link my other SheCodes videos up here for when I did the front end stuff. I will say, if you're trying to figure out if you want to go front end or Python, I would start with Python just because it's such a universal language. Front end is mainly for people who want to build and deploy websites. Like if that's your goal, go front end. But if you want to start with something, but you're not sure where to start with programming and you don't know if you want to do websites or you just want to learn to code, then I would start with Python. So check those out up here or in the description below. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time.